Jesus. And then Claudia, you kind of like lean into the mic there.
I will.
Yeah. You can.
Now that very day, 2 of them were going to a village 7 miles from Jerusalem called Emmaus.
And they were conversing about all the things that had occurred.
And it happened that while they were conversing and debating, Jesus himself drew near and walked with them.
But their eyes were prevented from recognizing him.
He asked them, "What are you discussing as you walk along?" They stopped, looking downcast.
One of them, named Cleopas, said to him in reply, "Are you the only visitor to Jerusalem who does not know of the things that have taken place there in these days?"
And he replied to them, "What sort of things?" They said to him, "The things that happened to Jesus the Nazarene, who was a prophet, mighty in deed and word before God and all the people.
How our chief priests and rulers both handed him over to a sentence of death and crucified him.
But we were hoping that he would be the one to redeem Israel. And besides all this, it is now the 3rd day since this took place."
Okay. Let's pause there and just kind of like look at what's happening here. So I know that we just started the Easter season yesterday, right, on Easter Sunday, and Easter, right, is not one day, it's 50 days until Pentecost. And we see here, right, that after the death of Jesus and even after his rising, right, there are 2 men who are going to a village 7 miles from Jerusalem. What does this mean? Where was Jesus crucified? So they witnessed these events that happened to him in Jerusalem. And now where are they going? They're going to a village 7 miles from Jerusalem called Emmaus. So they're going away from all of that tragedy that they just experienced, that they just witnessed with their eyes, right? They're going away from where Jesus died and rose, right, in Jerusalem. Why? Probably most likely because they were troubled of everything they've seen. They had lost hope. They lost despair. So a lot of times in life, right, when we see things that disappoint us, that discourage us, that we don't like, that we're in darkness, we tend to go away from it, right? We walk to an Emmaus, right? 7 miles, we go away. 7 miles is very far, if you're walking. I mean, it's not very, very far, but, that's quite a journey they had to go to. So they were talking about all these things, and what happened while they were conversing and debating, Jesus himself drew near and walked with them. Right? So who is taking the initiative here to be close to the other person, right? It is Jesus. Jesus sees them walking and he's like, I'm going to go near them. But their eyes were prevented from recognizing him. Why is that? Why couldn't they see Jesus? Why couldn't they recognize him? Well, we know that when Jesus first rose, Mary Magdalene didn't recognize him either, right? A lot of people didn't, mainly because he was in his new glorified body. And we'll see at the end that he wants to reveal himself, though. Right. So one of them, Cleopas, said to him, "Are you the only person who doesn't know anything that's happened?" They clearly don't know that it's Jesus. Right? And they're saying this to him, right, to Jesus, who is the one that they had witnessed, right, was crucified and died. We were hoping that he would be the one to redeem Israel, right? We were hoping that he was the one, right, that he's the Messiah. And it's the 3rd day since they took place. This event took place. Okay, so we'll continue reading. Do we leave off after verse 24?
We were on verse 22.
Verse 22. Okay, let's start. Okay, then let's start there. Yeah, you want to go ahead, Molly?
Some women from our group, however, have astounded us. They were at the tomb early in the morning
and did not find his body. They came back and reported that they had indeed seen a vision of angels who announced that he was alive.
Then some of those with us went to the tomb and found things just as the woman had described, but him they did not see.
And he said to them, "Oh, how foolish you are, how slow of heart to believe all the prophets spoke."
Was it not necessary that the Messiah should suffer these things and enter into his glory?
Then, beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he interpreted to them what referred to him in all the scriptures.
As they approached the village to which they were going, he gave the impression that he was going on farther.
Okay, let's read that verse, right, again. As they approached the village to which they were going, he gave the impression that he was going on further. So what did Jesus do? Right? Can you show us, Claudia?
What do you mean?
I know you're a good impromptu actress. And Maddie, why don't you stand up? I know I'm having but you're Jesus.
Okay.
You're a disciple.
Okay.
So give the impression that you're going on for.
You just like walk away? Like you just kept walking?
Yeah, that's it.
Like
So our Lord is also an actor. Right. He did that on purpose. Why do you think he did that? Don't you think that when someone goes away, the other person would be like, wait, no, I want you to stay. I think Jesus wanted to hear that. All right. So let's read what happens in the next verse.
But they urged him, "Stay with us, for it's nearly evening and the day is almost over." So he went in to stay with them.
And it happened that while he was with them at the table, he took bread, said the blessing, broke it, and gave it to them.
With that, their eyes were opened, and they recognized him, but he vanished from their sight.
Then they said to each other, "Were not our hearts burning within us while he spoke to us on the way and opened the scriptures to us?"
So they set out at once and returned to Jerusalem, where they found gathered together the 11 and those with them,
who were saying, "The Lord has truly been raised and has appeared to Simon."
Then the two recounted what had taken place on the way, and how he was made known to them in the breaking of the bread.
So when did Jesus fully reveal himself? What moment was that?
When he broke bread.
Right, when he broke the bread. And then once he broke it and they recognized him, what did he do?
He vanished.
He just disappeared. How do you think the disciples felt when he just disappeared? Like, we just recognized you, and then what do you think?
I think they were hopeful. I think they found that faith. But I also think they were probably confused for sure because of the fact just that he left all of a sudden.
And they just got used to stalking him and looking at him and recognizing his presence, that he's there. Do you think that Jesus abandoned them at that moment?
No.
Right? Just because you can't see him, it doesn't mean he's not there. Right? Where was he? Where was he when he disappeared?
He was still there, just not.
In the breaking of the bread. So here, actually, right, our Lord is telling us that he's even closer to them because he's not bound by a physical body. He is now in the Eucharist, and he can come inside of you. He can be with you. He can run through your veins, right? Till the end of time, right? Matthew chapter 28, verse 20 says, "I am always with you," right? Till the end of time, always. And so this is a really beautiful moment, right, where he reveals himself in the Eucharist. And it's hard, even now. Did you know that, I know you all, watched the Passion, right? When I wasn't here, did you finish it? You finished, most of it, right? When Jesus appeared to St. Faustina, he said, "I suffer more now in the Eucharist than I did on Calvary thousands of years ago, 2,000 years ago." He suffers more from that indifference, from that cold-heartedness, from that lack of faith in the Eucharist now than from all that bloody scourging, the crown of thorns, everything. Right? Because that moral suffering, it really hurts more. It hurts more than any physical suffering, that kind of suffering where you're not loved back. For me, I think that's one of the greatest pains, other than losing someone, is having unrequited love. Do you guys watch Charlie Brown? Yeah, I've seen Charlie Brown. I think that was a line from Lucy. Is Lucy the sister of Charlie Brown? I don't remember. Right? Or no, she's a friend. Okay, I don't know if it's Charlie Brown. I don't remember the other guy. Linus? Yeah, Linus. Well, one of them had a breakup, and then he said, "Oh, nothing takes away the taste of a peanut butter jelly sandwich than unrequited love." I remember that line. I don't think kids understand that line. That was a really like grown-up line, but anyways, that was a little memory I had from that. Okay, let's continue reading. Okay, where were we? Sorry, are we in the appearance to the disciples in Jerusalem?
Yes, sister.
Okay, let's go ahead and let's read that.
While they were still speaking about this, he stood in their midst and said to them, "Peace be with you."
But they were startled and terrified and thought that they were seeing a ghost.
Then he said to them, "Why are you troubled? And why do questions arise in your hearts?
Look at my hands and my feet, that it is I myself. Touch me and see, because a ghost does not have flesh and bones, as you can see I have."
And as he said this, he showed them his hands and his feet.
While they were still incredulous for joy and were amazed, he asked them, "Have you anything here to eat?"
They gave him a piece of baked fish.
He took it and ate it in front of them.
He said to them, "These are my words that I spoke to you while I was still with you, that everything written about me in the law of Moses and in the prophets and Psalms must be fulfilled."
Then he opened their minds to understand the scriptures.
And he said to them, "Thus it is written that the Messiah would suffer and rise from the dead on the third day."
And that repentance for the forgiveness of sins would be preached in his name to all nations.
Oh, I have to get that. My phone memories. Excuse me. Okay, sorry. You guys want to hold the podcast like tell jokers?
Beginning from Jerusalem.
Good afternoon, this is Sister Gianna. How may I help you? Hey, Mama!
Anyone have any jokes?
Well, it's that funny thing you mentioned earlier.